So now I would like to introduce our speaker today, who is a published author, a public speaker, and an empowerment coach. So a lot of good talents to share with the world. So Terri, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ryan. And you're recording this, right? So if I go too fast and somebody's trying to take notes or something, that they can go back and listen to it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, ladies, today I want to talk to you about becoming the extreme unstoppable entrepreneur. Okay. Entrepreneurship is an amazing thing. However, it can be challenging, right? And you can nod your head, just keep with me today with the audience. Just nod your head, agree, put your hand up if you have a question. But I want to talk about the top 6 things you must do in order to move forward, to become that extreme unstoppable entrepreneur. And the first one is letting the opinions of others control your life. Okay, we are all guilty of this at times, but we need to learn how to let it go. And it's not what others think. It's about what you think about yourself that counts. Wouldn't you agree? You have to do exactly what's best for you and your life and not what's best for anybody else. And I know for us women, we have a tendency to have a hard time saying no, right? Yes, I've had to learn that valuable lesson. And I'm sure, Ryan, you've had that same issue too, learning to say no. Number 2 is the shame of past failures. Okay. Now, your past does not equal your future. However, if you haven't learned how to make peace with your past, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to move into that extreme unstoppable entrepreneur. So I want to share a little bit about my life, because I know I'm meeting several of you, all of you for the first time, actually. So what could be holding you back from becoming that extreme unstoppable entrepreneur? I want to share really briefly. My life started out with alcoholic parents. And what happens is when you're living in a dysfunctional family, it can cause a whole lot of emotions that could even be playing in your life today. So I want to share about my parents were alcoholics. So that left me feeling abandoned because they loved to have their alcohol more than they did loving their children and spending time with their children. So that also left me with rejection because I tried to do things with my mom and dad, but they would always say, "Oh, we got to go this place, or we got to go that place. We got to go meet some friends." And they just shoved me to the babysitter, basically. And so what happened is that left me with a lot of insecurity. That left me with a lot of grieving because I didn't have the parents that other kids in my neighborhood did. I had absent parents, basically. And then fast forward a little bit, I want to move on to when I was 27 years old. Yeah, I'm dating myself. It's way, way long ago. But anyway, I thought I met the man of my dreams. Okay. We were blissfully in love. And what happened was 3 months into our marriage, I found out that he had been carrying a very deep, dark secret. He had told me that he had been in the Marine Corps for 9 years, when actually I found out on my own that he was in prison for first-degree murder. Now, talk about your world just shattering like glass. My life completely changed. And because he had already threatened to kill his parents if they ever told me about this, everybody kept it very silent. I had no warning signs, nothing. But unfortunately, I had to go back to him because he already threatened to kill my family. So I went back, and that's when he started abusing me and beating me up every day, verbally, mentally, physical, financial. He controlled everything. So what did that leave me with? That left me with rejection, insecurity, lacking confidence, fear, trust issues, abandonment issues, victimization, betrayal, guilt, because I kind of thought, you know how we do? We beat ourselves up thinking, what could I have done differently? Well, in this situation, there was really nothing I could have done differently. And then I went on to self-sabotage myself. And that meant I became a full-fledged alcoholic, a drug dealer. I was the #1 pool hustler in the state of Indiana. And those were all my coping mechanisms. Okay. So what did that leave me with? Anxiousness, broken down. And then resentment towards my ex-husband. I have learned how to forgive him, by the way. It left me with discouragement, grieving. It's like a death. My divorce was like a death, and then self-punishing, self-pity, and definitely critical on myself. Because the last thing he said to me is, I don't love you, but I don't want anybody else to have you. What do you think that does to our self-esteem, ladies and Ryan? It warps us. And so I felt like I was a very unwhole person. I mean, half of a person. So I want to go a little bit more. 3 days after our divorce was final, I went to a shopping center in Indianapolis. I'm not going to name the one because I don't want anybody to be scared if you go to it. But I was sexually assaulted by a guy with a knife that tried to kill me. And now, what did that do? That left me feeling victimized, guilt, wonder how could I do it differently, broken down, resentment, and the list goes on. Now, the reason I brought all that up is because before I went on my own self-discovery journey that I teach my clients with now, I was always sick. I felt always heavy. I didn't have any energy. I couldn't lose weight. Nothing was working. And then I went on this discovery journey to find my true self. So I have a question I want to ask you. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, where do you see yourself loving yourself back in the mirror today? Okay, that's a thought-provoking question. And I want you to kind of just maybe take some time and write that number down if you'd like. And then the reason I say that is because I ask my clients every single time that question, because some of them will come to me and they'll be like a 3, 4, or 5. And then some, I'd really like to see my clients coming in like 5 to 9. If they come in and they're a 10, my first question is, then why do you need me? And then, but then they have to, I want them to take a look back and make sure that they are really being true to themselves as well. Okay, I'm going to move on. The other number 3 is being indecisive of what you want. You will never leave where you are until you decide where you would rather be. Okay, so I also teach vision coaching. And what that means is that I help everyone that I teach get that vision in front of them and go through what is holding you back in making that vision. Okay, like my vision board in 2021 that I started out with, just to give you a very quick example, I had a car on my vision board that I wanted. It was a Honda CRV, powder blue, Honda. And that was on my vision board. And in February, because I was visualizing that car in and we went to go look for a car, that's the car that's now in my driveway. And so I was able to take my car off my vision board and then put it on my victory board. And there's a lot of factors that go into vision planning. But the first thing I want to say is this: if you have not silenced that chatter of people that's been having the hold over you for all your life, then it's going to be very hard to see that vision clearly. Does that make sense? Great. Okay, I like to do an exercise with people, especially when I'm on stage. So I'd like you to do it with me, if you don't mind. This is called the 90-second rocking chair exercise. Okay, so if everybody can close your eyes, and I can see. Okay, so I want you to pretend like I want you to imagine, visualize that you're on a rocking chair at your house of your dreams. It could be in the south part of the United States, it could be in Alaska, but you're on a rocking chair. And so I want you to really visualize what your life has been, how many things you've accomplished, what your business looked like after you retired, and you're 90 years old, mind you. Then I want you to think about how your children turned out, and charities that you've given to, and any trips that you wanted to go on. You have accomplished all this if you're visualizing this in. So I want you to just take a few minutes and just keep visualizing. This is your life at 90 years old. Okay. Okay. Could I get two of the beautiful women here share what you saw? If you can unmute yourself and let's talk about what you saw, if you don't mind. Okay, who wants to share?
I'll go.
Thank you, Julie.
To be honest, I didn't see anything. It's just something that I don't want to look back too far in the future and map out where I feel like I've been at 90 years old. Because one thing I've learned with life is you don't know where you're going to be a year from now or a week from now most of the time. So I'm just being honest. I didn't see anything.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. And it just the uncertainty, and I'm fine with that. So.
Okay, great. Donna.
I feel that, Julie. I used to be that way, and my husband has turned my wheels from that. So I saw a vacation home at the beach and one in the mountains. And I was sitting in the rocking chair beside my husband. We were just rocking and watching the scenery. So
that's great.
That is where I imagine.
Okay,
myself.
Great. Well, you can move to North Carolina because there's mountains and beaches.
Have them both within minutes of each other.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, Julie and Donna. Okay, so number 4, procrastination on the goals that matter to you. Okay, how many of us have been guilty of procrastinating? Yes, absolutely. Oh, Julie doesn't procrastinate. Hallelujah. Yes, let's give her a hand.
No, I possibly put off things that I may be uncomfortable or unfamiliar with doing, but no, I don't procrastinate because you just don't have time. So. A lot of people do it, or they're fine with it. I have a lot of clients that do it too. So
yes,
but it's okay. It's just different personalities.
Right. Did you know that fear is the underlining factor to procrastination? Fear. Yes, I know. It's like if you have a mountain to climb of paperwork or things like that, it's just something that's triggering you. It's like, oh man, if I get this done, then I'm going to have to do that. And I don't want to do that. So you start fearing. But anyway, number 5, making excuses rather than decisions. Whew, that's a big one for entrepreneurs, isn't it? We make excuses. There's many times that I've moved out here and I have a pool right outside here. And so I think I'm going to want to work that day. And then I look out and I go, nope, not working today. I'm going to the pool. So, because we are semi-retiring, so don't fault me on that one. And number 6, overlooking your victories and positive things about yourself. This is a big one. When I'm teaching vision coaching, I'm always asking people, what are your victories? Because 9 out of 10, they're going to tell me their faults and their challenges faster than they are their victories. And they've got to hang on to those victories. You've got to hang on to your successes, because that's what's going to drive you. That's what's going to drive you further. The other thing is, what you see often depends entirely on what you're looking for when it comes to overlooking your victories. You will have a hard time ever being happy if you are not thankful for where you're at today. And I see that a lot in entrepreneurs when I'm coaching them. And so what I want to do is I want to give you some examples of how you can become that extreme, unstoppable entrepreneur. You must believe in the power of your own intuition. Vitally important. You must believe that where you come from doesn't determine where you are going. And that's what I was talking about when I coach people out of their past, because they don't really know where they're going, but they do because they've gotten on the right path. Believe that you are more powerful than your opposition. Believe that your true realness, I love this one. Believe that your true realness is your superpower. Okay? Ryan knows that I'm a real person, and I will help people get out of their comfort zone. Otherwise, what can happen, I see this in other entrepreneurs and personal development people, is that you can come up with that imposter syndrome. Okay? You can walk around and let the world see one way, but then inside you're dying, or you're lonely, or you're bitterness, or you have all kinds of strong emotions going on. So believe in your superpower. Believe in the power of your why. Why did you start your business? Is your why that you started your business, is it strong? Is it medium, or is it weak? And this is how I gauge when I'm teaching workshops. If your why is weak, then you still are listening to too many voices in your head that's telling you things like, I can't do that, or I'm going to feel rejected, or I have self-doubt. And now when you come in your medium, that means you've worked a lot on your own personal development. And then, of course, when you're strong, then that's where people walk with their head high, their shoulders down, and they know who they are. And everybody around them knows that they know who they are. Believe in the power of asking for what you need. Okay, that's a vitally important one. And believe in being courageous. You know, as entrepreneurs, we get torn down a lot. You know, if things aren't going our way, then sometimes what do? We start self-sabotaging ourselves, saying negative things. You're like, I can't do this, or, oh, this isn't going to work, or I'm going to fail anyway. And I used to feel that way many years ago, but I took the word failure out of my vocabulary, and I replaced it with, this is just a learning, loving experience that I will make sure that I do better next time. Believe that haters are just confused supporters. Okay, I don't know about you, when you started your business or you started going into this business, did you have naysayers telling you that they didn't think you could do it? I certainly did. Believe in the power of living your values. Believe in your visions. That means only one thing: believe in yourself. Believe that a power greater than myself has already given me everything I need inside. And the final one, the number one way to become more of that extreme, unstoppable entrepreneur is believe I am more than enough. And again, sometimes if you've been raised like I was, I never heard that you are enough. I always heard that I am not enough. And that really, really hurts. And so one thing that I've learned is the importance of continually having breakthroughs in your life. So many times we get stuck, but we don't know how to get from point A to point B. And that's why breakthroughs are very important, because that's a very quick mind shift of how you can get out of that rut that you're in, if you're in a rut. So how many of you are ready for a breakthrough in your personal life, in your business life, in your relationships, anything else that matters, and even in your marriage? How many are you ready for a breakthrough? You have to ask yourself that question. So what I do, I offer a 30-minute complimentary coaching session. It's a discovery session. I ask several questions, and then you do most of the talking. And I've been very blessed to be able to help hundreds and hundreds of women and men come up with their breakthroughs, have them hope. I love watching those aha moments that they're like, oh my gosh, now I see why it's clicking, and then I help them silence that chatter. So I have a 4-step coaching program that I use. And if you want any more information, just let me know. But I would love to do a complimentary session with you. you have nothing to lose, but maybe a whole lot to gain. So thank you so much for this time. I appreciate
Terri,
it.
I had a question for you on your coaching program. You got yours through the John Maxwell. Is that why you're mentioning that he was a mentor that you're okay?
I did not.
I do know Randy Wheeler and a few others that actually went through the program. So I was just curious if that was the same one you went through. So
No,
cool.
I went through another coaching program, and but I still love John Maxwell, and he's helped me to grow as a coach, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, I just haven't, I mean, I've heard phenomenal things about John Maxwell, and I'm just like, I've never read any of his books or done his coaching program. Just know a lot of people that just swear by him. So I was just curious.
That's not a problem. Ryan?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Does anyone have any other questions for Terri?
I do have another one. Terri, what made you want to focus on helping specifically women entrepreneurs versus just, everybody out there? I was just kind of curious on like, how did you find your niche?
That's a very good question, Julie. And I do train and teach a lot of men. I've done it. Ryan and I haven't been together for a while, so I have brought in a lot of men. Oh, I'm definitely not opposed to teaching men whatsoever. I actually went and spoke at a Rotary Club about a month ago, and they were all men. So I'm definitely not opposed. Now you're asking me that question. So there's one thing I did forget to mention, that when you have somebody that believes in you, okay, and this is vitally important, because I don't know where any of you ladies are on that scale of looking yourself back in the mirror. But if you have somebody that believes in you and wants you to do something and you don't believe in yourself, listen to them, okay? It's vitally important because they see something in you that you didn't see in yourself. Now, it doesn't mean that you're lacking confidence or anything like that. So I want to give you an example. Ryan, I got a couple more minutes. So basically, I am the founder and the former executive director of a domestic violence organization that I started in Indianapolis. And it's still going strong today, even though I'm not a part of it. The thing about it is I worked there for 9 years as the executive director, and my executive coach, Julie, came in and she said, Terri, your time is up here. I was like, okay, am I getting fired? Because I'm really ruffling the board's feathers of getting money in. And she says, I'm not going to say a word to you. I need to see you in my office in 3 days. I was like, okay, so what happens to women and maybe some men that you hear something like that? What is the first emotion that you feel? Anybody want to,
Panic.
Yeah,
I'm in trouble.
What
I do? I'm in trouble. What I do?
Yeah, what did I do? And then I was like, I don't care what I did. I went out of here anyway. So, but it was like, okay. So when I went into her office, I was expecting the whole board to be there. Okay. And that I told my husband, and he was like, you know what? That's okay, because you're under so much stress doing this job. It's okay. We'll figure this out. And basically, we walked in. It was just her and me. And she said, do you have any idea why I brought you here? I said, oh, I have no idea. So she went to her whiteboard and she wrote speaker, empowerment coach, workshop facilitator, radio talk show host. I may be repeating myself, I don't know. And best-selling author. And I'm like, okay, what's this? And she says, you know why I wrote that? I said, I have no idea. She says, I believe I want you to get out of the center, and I want to help you to become all of these. And I was like shocked. I never even thought about it, And so I started to cry. And she says, girl, why are you crying? I said, well, I've never had anybody believe in me this much. And I'm not even sure if I believe in me this much. And so she started doing rapid fire, like, okay, if you're on stage, what kind of topics would you speak about? I'm giving you 30 seconds to go. And I just started rattling things off. And so that's how I got started as a coach. I had no idea where all my clients were going to come from, but I went and did a speaking engagement. I offered the 30-minute complimentary session. Off I went. And 1 week I had 15 clients and I was exhausted. So that's why I say, if you have somebody that believes in you, let them talk to you. Let them figure out why they see this in you and you don't. Okay. So thank you for that question, Julie. Hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Thank you for
You're
sharing your
welcome.
story.
Thank you. Anyone else? If you are interested in a complimentary session, just go ahead and put it in the chat. And I will get in touch with you and to see what we can uncover. You never know. Thank you again.
Awesome. Well, if no one else has any questions for Terri, let's give her a hand for her presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you.